Hello and welcome to Fogset. I'm Michael Meehan, and we are pleased to have as our guest here at Fogset a man who has traveled extensively around the world. He is here to tell us about his adventures. Please welcome Mackle McVaggis.
It's McVaggis. Please pronounce my name right.
I apologize, Mr. McVaggis. You've traveled extensively around the world, and you say you've sampled exotic cuisines and foods around the world. Tell us about that.
That's correct. I've eaten penguin meat on Christmas. I've eaten seal brains, even though they told me that there might be parasites. I didn't see them. My favorite by far was camel vomit. It's when you can't drink the brackish water. The Bedouin taught me. They say just force the water down the camel's throat and then use a stick and induce vomiting into a bag, and we drink that. It's more appetizing than you'd think.
Did you travel alone, or did you have a group of people that went with you?
You know, the team varied. Usually we'd start off with about 10, end up with about 2, and those were pretty good odds, I'd say.
How did the team deal with any medical emergencies?
Well, medical emergencies are interesting, depending on where you are. When I was with the Inuit up in Greenland, my foot got frostbite, my toes. So an Inuit shaman offered to bite the toes off to ward off evil spirits, but I opted to take them off with a hammer instead. I lost my foot 3 months later.
I guess our viewers at Fogset want to know, how were your relationships with the local natives you encountered?
They started off interesting. You know, I learned that if you offer a ride to an Inuit woman, that's the same as propositioning her for lovemaking. And they would point to their hair, and if their hair was down, that meant they were menstruating. I didn't know that, and I picked up quite a few. I think I left a few descendants up there.
When you say picked up, what sort of vehicle were you driving? Was a truck or a sled or some?
It was a sled pulled by cannibalistic wolves, or better known as huskies.
Did you adopt any of the customs from the groups and the cultures that you visited?
The common practice when I was in with the Inuit was a husband would offer his bed and his wife to any guest. So that was something that was against my Christian nature, but I adapted, and I felt like I could give her something that she couldn't get anywhere else.
And what was that?
Oh, that was me sobbing in the corner and telling her my problems with my mother.
I guess the sexy part of the interview. How did the team deal with any animal encounters? Did you run into some vicious animals or out of control animals?
Well, animals are interesting all around the world. You know, lions, they'll charge you. They put their ears back, but they'll stop a few feet from you, so you got to have nerve. Do not run away. I learned that the hard way. They will come after you. You know, the fiercest by far was in Peru. It was the candiru, or the vampire fish. Now, they swim up your urethra when you urinate in a river. And I found out the hard way, you can't suck those suckers out because they're barbed.
That sounds painful.
Absolutely. As I've mentioned, northern huskies are essentially wolves. I learned that the hard way trying to rub their belly. They'll pretty much kill anybody that they're not familiar with. They'll kill people they are familiar with. They'll kill each other, and they eat each other. And one of their favorite foods is human excrement, I found.
Well, with such a wild adventure, I'm sure that you have a book coming out. What's the name of the book?
Well, the name of the book is Kiss of a Vampire Fish.
Well, thanks to our guest, Mr. Mackle McVaggis, his book, Kiss of the Vampire Fish, and that's going to be available in your local bookstores. Thank you so much for joining us here at Fogset.